right, so we're on SAT test number 2. This is just the calculator section in this packet. And we open it up and it's number 1. Is this where we start? No. No, we go whoop all the way towards the end because we're going to do our gridded response first. Oops, too far. Yes, the calculator test is the longest test out of the 2 of them, which is good news because no one wants to do a no calculator test forever. So it starts off with, is this the first one? Oh, it's 30 and multiple choice still. Aha, duh. 31, there we go. Good, because I didn't really want to do number 30 yet. It's actually the hardest question on the whole test. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's only hard, 30 is hard because it's geometry, which everyone freaks out over. I have to remind you of a few things on number 30 when we get there. Luckily, that's some other problem. Okay, so number 31, coastal geologist estimates that a certain country's beaches are eroding at a rate of 1.5 feet per year. Watch your labels on these sorts of questions. They look easy, but just always watch your labels. According to the geologist's estimate, how long will it take in years, so keep the same label, for the beaches to erode by 21 feet? So I think we just need to divide this, right? And this is a calculator question, so literally I'm just going to do this on my calculator because I'm tired and I'm trying to conserve energy. And I think it comes out to 14. So we would bubble in 14 and don't get cutesy and bubble it in weird, just 14. Make sure, remember guys, you're filling out the boxes on gridded response and also the bubbles when they get there. So 32, H hours and 30 minutes is equal to 450 minutes. What's the value of these mystery H hours? Well, I mean, all right, just subtract the 30 minutes from it. So we have 420 minutes right now. And in order to convert that back to whole hours, you would divide by 60. Again, this is a calculator question, so even though I know I could do this in my head on a good day, the SAT is not a good day. So 7. The answer is 7. So 2 in a row, nice and easy. Good start, feeling good. Number 33. And this is why I hate when kids don't know to start on the gridded response, because guess where they run out of time is obviously the end of the test. And we just hit very 2 easy questions, and they're going to have to guess on them because they're out of time, which is a shame. In XY coordinate plane, 0.36 lies on that function. Cool. What's the value of B? So when they give you a random ordered pair, they're kind of telling you to plug in for X and Y and then see what's left over. B is going to be the only unknown thing in that question. Happy morning. Take donuts. That's test number 2. It's calculator. We're only doing the calculator today because we only have today and today. All right, so remember f of x, fancy talk for y. So when I go to plug in 6 equals y, I go right here, 6 equals 3. And then my x that I'm plugging in is a 3 as well, so 3 squared minus b times 3 plus 12. So a little cleaning up here. Watch yourselves right here. A lot of kids try to muscle through this in their brain, which I think is just a terrible idea at the end of an SAT test. I would just type this in. But if you didn't have a calculator, you would do 3 squared. 9 times 3 is 27. But then remember you have this plus 12 over here as well. So what we're really going to subtract from both sides is the, I just said don't do anything in your head, and here I am trying to do things in my head. Is that 39? Cool. All right, so you're subtracting 39 from both sides. I got some weird work going on here, but you know what? It works. So these are gone. And we have negative 33 equals, don't lose this negative sign, negative 3 times b. So b equals 11. So of course you're bubbling in 11. Don't get cute and weird. Just bubble in 11. Did you notice that on the gridded response, and maybe you don't remember, but oh, I don't have it here. On the directions page, it tells you, like, well, it shows you what it looks like on the directions page, but there's no negative option. Like, you can never bubble in a negative answer for SAT. So if you went through all this work and you got something negative, like, your assumption should be just flat out that you made a mistake. Don't just assume, like, oh, I got negative 3, so I'm just going to bubble in positive 3 because I can't bubble in a negative 3. It might be that simple. It might just be you lost a negative in your work, but more than likely you just have a larger overarching mistake. So just redo the problem. If time allows, of course. All right, 34. In one semester, Doug and Laura spent a combined 250 hours in the tutoring lab. Wow. If Doug spent 40 more hours in the lab than Laura did, how many hours did Laura spend in the lab? Okay. So we got Doug and we got Laura. Can we just call them D and L? Does that make sense for variables? So Doug spent 40 more hours in the lab than Laura did. And we could guess and check our way to the right answer here, but, you know, time is of the essence, so algebra actually would be your friend here. So be careful. It's not Doug plus 40 equals Laura, because Doug is the higher number here. Doug is 40 more than Laura, right? Something like that. And the other thing we know is that they spent 250 hours if I add up their times together. So, oh, looky here, another system. You notice they like their systems? So, algebraically, we would be plugging that in for D. We would get 40 plus L, so 40 plus 2L. I need to get some more space. All right, so 40 plus 2L equals 250. 2L is 210. L is 105. Now I got to stop and think, do they want Laura's time? Because if so, we're done. How many hours did Laura spend in the lab? Yep, answer is 105. It would not be crazy for me to be paranoid and assume that SAT would, like, at the end ask for something weird, like, what's the difference between Laura and Doug's time? Like, they've done that before for no particular reason other than just to be irritating. Sorry, whoever I just offended on the internet. Okay, number 35. We have what looks to be a linear equation up top there. So it's in the vein of y equals mx plus b. This is like the heart of the question. It's a slope-intercept form of a line. So that means our slope is 18 and our y-intercept is 15. They probably want to know something. Let's keep reading. Jane made an initial deposit to a savings account. Each week thereafter, she deposited a fixed amount. The equation above models the amount A in dollars that Jane has deposited after T weeks. According to the model, how many dollars was Jane's initial deposit? So which number are they looking for in a linear equation if they want the initial amount? Is it the slope or the y-intercept? The y-intercept. I think we're done. The answer is 15. I was staring at the wrong page and I was like, what? The answer is not 15? Okay, yes it is. So, warning to all, I haven't actually keyed this test. All I did was looked up their key and circled all the right answers and wrote down all the right answers. So if we get stuck on a question, we're just going to do some editing so I don't embarrass myself too much on the internet. Okay, number 36. Oh, great. A circle question. All right, so in the figure above, point O is the center. Cool beans. Line segments, LM and MN, are tangent to the circles. All right. Respectively, and segments intersect at point M. If the circumference of the circle is 96, what is the length of minor arc LN? Okay. Does anybody remember the relationships of these weird arc things? Or could you make a guesstimate based on the picture? That might be a better way to start. Like, I think this angle has some sort of relationship with this angle, I'm thinking. Yes, I think it is double. So here's how I could double check if I'm not sure. Do you guys see this weird, like, kite-looking thing is a quadrilateral? Okay, so quadrilaterals would add up to 360, right? So 360 minus 60. Well, you know, this is a stupid way to do it. Ignore me. All right, let's just go with it's double, and hopefully we get the right answer, because the answer is supposed to come out to 32. So if we don't get 32, we're going to edit this whole part of the video. Okay, so this, I believe you're right. I think this is a 120. Okay, now why is that important? Is because this red arc that we're trying to find is a fraction of the whole circumference, right? So 120 degrees is a fraction of the whole circle. How much would be the whole circle? 360. So if I compare that to, I want to know this red mark, comparing it to the whole circumference, which I think they told me is 96. I think we're ready to rock and roll, guys. It's the same proportion, which means we can solve it like a proportion. Calculator test, so yeah, use your calculator. Remember, you're going to be real stinking tired at this point. Please tell it, is it 32? Yes! So apparently there's some theorem out there about tangent arcs and things, or tangent line segments and interior angles, where this exterior one here is half the size of this interior one. Cool beans. I don't remember what the names of these are. I have not taught geometry in like 14 years. There's like inscribed, circumscribed, I don't know what they're called. You have it. You have a whole formula sheet. Bless you. You know what? To be determined. Oh, that's the end. But not for us, because we started with gridded response. So back to the front. And you know what I like about doing, I've said this before, but I like doing the test this way because it's, oh, I don't have a 37 and 38. Oh, never mind. Yes, I do. I might not have a slide of it. That might be the problem. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so sometimes I take pictures and they're hiding behind. Nope, not that time. Well, I don't know. Everybody else in the world is reading number 37 and 38. Oh my gosh, these are really horrible. Okay, time out for a minute. Well, let's look. I don't know. I thought maybe I need to look up the answer again. I'm pretty sure this is the right answer, though. Okay, so this question, well, it's gridded response. So it's one of those, hope for the best when you get your answer, and sometimes the best just isn't right. So we have next year is what they're wanting. Oh, they don't want next year. Look at the question. 2 years. You got to go again. So yes, the first time I did it, I did get 3150. You're right. But then I read, and I was like, oh, they want 2 years from now. Okay, so our friends here in the room, they were going through this formula, did a beautiful job of finding the end result of the first year. So 3,000 is the current value. So in the first year, they would be typing 3,000 plus 0.2 times 3,000. And then this quantity has to be multiplied by this weird 0.2 part. So 1 minus 3,000 divided by, down in the question it says K is 4,000. Which K, by the way, represents the number of plants that the environment can sustain at that time. So when I crank this in the calculator, yes, you get exactly 3150, right? So that's the value, that's the number of whatever plants. What are we talking about? This is the number of plants that we have after the first year. Now we go again, and this is our new value for the other stuff. So we're going to type 3150 plus 0.2 times 3150. Yeah, it's not great. It's not a fun problem. And it is like one of the last questions on the test, so keep that in mind. Now you should get some weird, awful, like 3283.875, and then it does say here round to the nearest whole number, so you would bubble in 3284. What a stinker question. I mean, like, first of all, the formula looks atrocious, and then they went ahead and asked for 2 years from now. So I have a lot of marks on my paper. I think I actually did catch the 2 years from now thing right away, which is really unusual for me. Usually I mess that up. But, you know, if I was a test taker, I'm ultra paranoid in the moment, and every time I see something that looks unusual to the question, I just underline it, circle it, because I feel like it's going to be important to me, because they're trying to trick me. I'm very paranoid. Like, I feel like they're trying to trick me constantly, which apparently they are. So same question, same formula. This time, the botanist would like to increase the number of plants, blah, blah, blah. The question here says, how many plants must the modified environment be able to support? So if I'm looking for, like, what does that mean in my formula, that's the number K. So this time we're trying to find K. So we're still going to be solving the equation. It's going to be a good time. Let's read the important stuff here. They want to increase it from 3,000 to 3,360 in 1 year. So you just have to go through the formula one time this time. But this is the next year number, the bigger one, and this is the current year, this year. So here we go. Next year we want it to be 3,360. Apparently right now it's 3,000 plus 0.2 times 3,000. And then in this weird parentheses set, it's 1 minus 3,000 divided by K. Now, the actual solving for K is a little complicated. And, like, remember how your science teachers always want you guys to isolate the formula for the variable, like, first? This might have been a good problem to do it on, but you know what? It's literally the last question on our section, so let's just muscle through it, okay? You're clearly going to subtract 3,000. So we have 360 equals, now this I wouldn't mind coming up with a decimal. What's 0.2 times 3,000? 600? Is that right? Okay, cool. All right, 1 minus 3,000 over K. So obviously our next step, I would pull the 600 away by dividing it. Don't distribute it, that'd be icky. All right, we got decimal land now. What's 360 divided by 600? It's 0.6. And then 1 minus 3,000 over K. It's up to you, your next step, but most humans just subtract 1. So 0.6 times, 0.6 minus 1 is negative 0.4, right? And then you do have a proportion. So go with what you're comfortable with, guys. Most children find just cross multiplying the proportion is where it's at. So negative 0.4 times k is negative 0.4k equals negative 3,000. So your final step is to divide by negative 0.4. Whew. Okay, comes out nice though, right? 7,500? Cool. And that's what you would bubble in. Whoops, not that many zeros. 7,500. Yeesh. Okay, so that is the last question on the test, but it's not our last question, so now we go back to the beginning. And after all that work, here's our reward. We get back to the beginning of the test. We're sure to have a few easy questions here at the beginning, so let's take a look. A musician has a new song available for downloading or streaming. Isn't that fun? How culturally relevant they are? That's cute. If you look at an old ACT test, or even SAT test, the questions are all like really outdated and they're hilarious. It's like the video cassettes and the, like, oh, that's adorable. The musician earns 9 cents each time the song is downloaded and a fraction of a cent, 0.0002 each time the song is streamed. Which of the following expressions represents the amount that the musician earns when D is a download and S is the streamings? So just multiply them by the right variable. I think we're good. 0.0002 is the streaming one, right? So it's C. Done. All right. See? Reward. All your hard work paid off. Number 2. Number 2 is a linear equation. I hope you can recognize that as being a slope-intercept form of a line. It is a little backwards, but it's okay. We have the end of a spring is attached to the ceiling. When the object of mass M is attached to the other end, the spring stretches to a length L. What is M when L is 73? Well, that's a really silly way of saying plug in 73 for L. And then you guys are going to solve. And it's a calculator test, so you're not going to do a single moment of math in your head because you're tired. Like every day of my life. Now, do type carefully. You guys, culturally and, demographically speaking, you guys have a major advantage over old people like me because you type so much during the day that you're very good typers. So what you get after you do this and then you're going to divide by 0.35? 14, and it's an answer and it's the right one. Very good. Now, I always tell my Algebra 2 students in particular, because they're a little fearful of word problems. Actually, I'll be honest, most kids are fearful of word problems, and I always tell them, don't fear the word problem on the SAT, because if you start fearing every word problem, you're going to fear pretty much the whole test. It's almost all word problems, but words do not mean mean math. We just saw, very easy questions that were all word problems. The quality control manager selects 7 light bulbs at random for inspection. Out of 400 light bulbs at this rate, so that's keyword for proportion, by the way, how many light bulbs will be inspected out of all 20,000 light bulbs? So he inspected 7 out of the 400, which means he's going to inspect a mystery number out of the full 20,000. Cross multiply and divide. I think you get 350. Awesome. All right. Next page, numbers 4 and 5 are all going to refer to that information. 6 does not, so I'll skip to the next slide in a minute. So how much, I should read the question. The amount of money a performer earns is directly proportional. So directly proportional literally means you can set up a proportion at some point in your math. But what it also means is as one variable increases, the other one increases at the same rate. That's why you can set up a direct proportion. To the people attending the performance. The performer earns $120 when 8 people attend. How much will the performer earn when 20 people attend? 2 proportion problems right in a row. Look at this. $120 when 8 people show up. So how much money when 20 people show up? Cross multiply and divide again. And y'all should get 300. Did you get a confirmation of the 300? Excellent. Okay. I'm going to move down a slide, and remind me to come back to 6, please. Number 5, same setup. The performer uses 43% of the money to earn to pay the cost involved in putting on each performance. The rest of the money earned in the performer's profit. Okay. What is the profit the performer makes where 8 people attend? Okay, what was the number again? When 8 people attended, they took in $120 or earned $120. Okay. So I need you to, there's a couple ways you can do this. For most kids, they figure out this, which is okay. What do you get when you do that, though? What is it? 51.6. Okay, which is not the right answer. Tell me why. Yeah, that's what they're going to put back into the cost of the performance, right? They want to know the other amount of that. So you would have to take the 120 then and then subtract the 51.6. Now, a quicker way to do that question would have been to do $120 and multiply by how much he or she gets to keep, which would be 57%. So that will get you directly to this answer. Either one of these gets you that answer, but did you notice what they put as an answer choice? That was very rude. Thank you. Oh, you little stinker. Okay, and then number 6. When 4 times the number x is added to 12, the result is 8. Well, what number results when 2 times x is added to 7? That feels very algebra-y to me. Let's write something down. Translate for me, guys. 4 times the number x is added to 12. The result is 8. That's an equation. 4 times x added to 12, it is 8. Cool. And then they want to know 2 times x added to 7, which we're not going to get in our math here, so let's just solve for x and plug it in. So subtract 12. 4x equals -4, so x equals -1. Plug that baby in, and y'all get 5, I hope. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Nice, easy, comfortable algebra question. We're on number 6, so that makes sense. Let's try to get 7 done, and then we'll call it a day. Oh, our friend the quadratic. Which of the following blah, blah, blah is equivalent? So they want to know this guy is equivalent to one of these. Figure it out. There's a lot of ways you can do this, guys. For most kids, they are just going to rearrange these into standard form until they find the winner chicken dinner. Kids who are very insightful will kind of look ahead and figure out which ones look promising and start there. Are you guys feeling insightful today? It's okay if you're not. I have no insight whatsoever. Okay, well, let's just start with A. Or you can start with your favorite letter. I don't care. Can we just rearrange this one real quick? Is that one going to work? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read. Stop me, guys. Gosh, I'm not insightful at all. They're all equivalent. I would have gotten big trouble in a minute. They're all equivalent. Ooh, whoopsies. Which of the following displays the x-intercepts of a parabola? Okay, this is a vocab question. X-intercepts mean the solution. So it's the one that's in factored form. Can you find them? D! There we go. The answer's D. I'm so sorry. That's okay. We always say I make at least one good mistake a day, and I think I've made 3 today. Bye!